It's Rebecca. And guess what? It's my first time. It's my first time podcasting by myself, solo episode. And really, the reason why we have a solo episode is because I am terrible at math and organizing spreadsheets. And I don't know where my brain was thinking about what we had left for the rest of the year. I had the idea of doing a solo episode. And then because the slot was filled, didn't really evolve that idea any further until just now I finished recording with Bernie on an episode that will be out on December 26th. And I was like, wait a minute, that math doesn't really work out right. And then went back and looked at the spreadsheet and said, oh, yes, that solo episode I said I was going to do, I never did. But that's okay because this is also my birthday. So yes, lucky me. You know, as my daughters would sing in preschool, the earth goes around the sun, the earth goes around the sun, the earth goes around the sun, and Rebecca turns 41. So fun. And you know what? I love my birthday. I have really learned to appreciate my birthday as an adult. Although, raise your hand if you are born so close to the holidays and feel like you get a little screwed on the presents side of things or the personal attention. I would love to hear from you if you share a birthday with me or around that time and have a story. You can always email me, Rebecca@bodykindnessbook.com. Or if you are an insider, and I hope you are, then you can post a message in the insider group when I share this podcast. And then also don't forget, we have a group that's just for podcast listeners, and that's Body Kindness Podcast. Let's talk about that show. If by chance you are not yet signed up as an insider, you need to do the e-course first, and that's absolutely free. That is at my website, bodykindnessbook.com, and click Get Started. Give your name and email. You get the e-course. You get some emails from me, including an invite to be an insider. If you find the Body Kindness Insiders group on Facebook, you can request access, but we'll make sure that you have access to the e-course as well that way, because we want to make sure that you at least have the basic language for some of the things that we're talking about, that we talk about on the shows too. So I really hope you do those things. Just in case, if I think I gave my email, but here it goes, and I'll give it one more time, Rebecca@bodykindnessbook.com. I would love to hear if you have a birthday around mine or some other unfortunate time of year where you feel like you have to do something special to make yourself appreciate it. And you know whose birthday I'm really jealous of? I am jealous of birthdays that are on New Year's Day, right? I mean, those New Year's babies, for their entire life, they get a party the night before their birthday, fireworks, everybody's happy, and then they get their birthday off. I mean, every year, what a gift. And I have a good friend who is a New Year baby, and every year when we're celebrating New Year's, even if I'm not around him, I get super jealous. I'm like, I want that birthday. So I just thought that I would celebrate my birthday with sharing just a little bit about, what kind of things I like to do, and also share how I celebrate my birthday in a way that's really not about the cake and the present, though all those things are lovely. I really find that my birthday time is a time for creating more meaning and a grounded sense of purpose. So by the time you're listening to this, if you're on schedule, and if you're not on schedule, get back on schedule, and you can start with episode 1 in season 1, where Bernie and we just help each other finding body kindness and introduce it to the world. And season 2 is wrapping up at the end of this year, I guess. And it's pretty much 40 some episodes where we've had all kinds of interesting interviews. And I've got a lot of plans for next year's season 3 as well. Can't wait to continue that forward. And, I need your help to do that. I would love it if you could become a supporter of the Body Kindness podcast. All of the funds are going to the production of the show. So it's paying the experts that help get it on the air, producer, editing, equipment, the peanuts that I pay Bernie for being on the episodes with me. I would really love and appreciate it if you could give what you can. That way to do that is at gofundme.com/bodykindness. And thank you so much for your support. We'll be doing thank yous on future episodes. We'll be sending out thank yous on social media. If you don't want to be thanked, then you could donate anonymously. But if you do want to be thanked and acknowledged, then please make sure you leave your name, and you will be included in the thank yous on our podcast page as well as on future episodes. And I just really can't stress enough how much it means for you to give any amount or share it on social. And if now's not a good time for you, don't worry about it, because just having you as a listener is a gift. And there are other ways that you can share the love just by sharing how the show is helpful to you and by sharing the fundraiser. And so thank you so much for that. Now, on to my birthday business. So if you are listening real time, I am hopefully right now in a hot tub with my husband. Bow chicka bow wow. Oh, yeah. Anyway, one of the things, my husband's birthday is in October, and then our older daughter's birthday is in November, and then mine is in December. And so we tried to get away for the middle point of our birthdays, but it tends to be right around Audrey's birthday or Thanksgiving time. So just not a good time for us to celebrate in the middle. So I have to say, this year I actually accidentally forgot my husband's birthday. I still am trying to make up for that one. It was a totally 16 candle moment for him. And, I blame him because he took it off Facebook. And, when he told me like 3 days after his birthday, when I was like, I don't even remember what I've been doing this week. And he's like, yeah, you forgot my birthday. I was like, really? And the first thing out of my mouth was, well, why wasn't it on Facebook? And he said that he did that on purpose because he wanted to see who would remember. And not even his mom remembered. I mean, she did technically, but she did not remember until like the end of the day of his birthday. So I kind of feel vindicated. I kind of feel that, that you should just post your birthday and all your other privacy information on Facebook if you want people to remember in this social media age. So anyway, because it tends to be not as crazy in the news, which is my husband's line of work, and same thing with nutrition and the work that I do, there tends to be a nice opportunity for a bit of a lull. That's when we try to take some time to get away. So we are spending some time as a family and going to be in West Virginia, and then going to leave the kids with the in-laws, and we are enjoying some time on a lake, in a cabin, hopefully in a hot tub, by a fiber, nutrition Freudian slip, by a fire, and enjoying each other's company and delicious food. And I'm sure I'll be Instagramming it, because if it's not on Instagram, it didn't happen. So we can check in there. And yeah, it's interesting because it is the first time where I said, okay, I'm going to take my birthday off. I'm not going to work on my birthday. And my best friend also said this year was her first time that she wasn't going to work on her birthday. And she didn't. She took her dog on a hike. She drove like an hour away on one of this gorgeous hike and just had a nice day, alone by herself. And she said it was a total spiral up moment. And so she inspired me to do the same. And so, I'll be enjoying some time and hopefully some reading, quiet, company, comfort, and just a little bit of downtime. And it will be pretty short-lived as the things go. I'll be spending lots of time with my kids as they're on their break over the holiday as well. And I'm really looking forward to that because, you can get pretty busy with your daily to-dos, and the girls have a pretty long school day, and they love it too, but it's really nice to kind of have a couple of weeks where we can just relax a little bit more and practice that hygge lifestyle, which I don't think I've talked about too much on the podcast. It might have been in some previous episodes, but I first learned about it, I think it was when the Little Book of Hygge came out in the US, or there was like a sort of a series of books that came out 1 or 2 Decembers ago that was about this idea of kind of, in America, we don't even have a word for it. It's kind of like comfort in a sense of easiness, but it's very popular in Danish culture. It's kind of that cozy sweater, nice little candle, fire pit situation, just cozy comfort food and conversation, and just this idea of like unwinding and being together and snuggling up and cuddling. And so yeah, lots of hygge going on for my big birthday celebration, and just kind of taking those pauses that you need to take that are so important in life. And I will admit, and hopefully this is not too much of a surprise to you, but taking pauses is a really hard thing for me. I do it even when I feel like it's against my better judgment. I will do it anyway. But, I kind of have, like, I know the value and the importance of it, but I also struggle with when I feel energy behind something, I want to make good use of that energy. And so what I prefer to do is be consistent with my sleep patterns and let that be the pause. And, but I don't love like a lot of idle time. And so what ends up happening to me is I end up scheduling more than what I can do. And then it erases the idle time. So I actually am someone who has to work to put the idle time in there, or I deal with some things like books I want to read that don't get read, or I've had this goal for literally 2 years to do an adult coloring book project for my girls. And it's basically picking out a picture, coloring it all in, and then giving them a note, having it framed and having it as something that's in their room, but that's a gift for them of something that their mom did. I know that's not very artistic of me, but what am I going to do? Make a clay pot and like sign it for them? I mean, that would not look pretty, but at least I could probably color in things. And interestingly, my grandma was an artist and an art teacher, and she did oil on canvas and oil on slate, and she has pretty gorgeous art. Unfortunately, I was 16 years old when she passed away, and she was sick a few years before that. So I was never quite at the right age to get to learn from her. And it is a big, big regret of mine, but I'm grateful that my aunt and mom and other family members did have a chance to learn from her. And we have several paintings from my grandma and from family members who've been taught by her. And the one that's in my possession is actually this painting from Bathtub Beach. And it is the Sea Turtle Conservancy. And I was there with my family visiting my grandparents, and they buried me in the sand, threw a bunch of potato chips on me. Seagulls came, and a news photographer was there. So I actually still have this print picture. I have to pull it up and share it on social when this comes out, or sometime soon. But it's this print picture of like me eye to eye with a seagull. And so this is literally this beach my grandma actually painted way back when I was a little girl. And my mom has a Polaroid of me on that beach chasing the waves. And so this is, when we talk about spiral ups, oh my gosh, this is so special. The painting, and that it was from my grandma, and the meaning behind it, that I have this photo that I really don't remember anything. Like nothing from the picture. All I know is clearly there's a little version of me with curly hair and I'm chasing the waves. I look like I'm having a good time. And this was taken at the place where my grandma was painting, and now I own the painting. So I just love that. And, knowing that we're in kind of gift-giving season mode, it makes me want to think about the importance and value of gifts in our life, and that we're actually happier when we focus on gifts of experiences and not things. And so, when I think of this picture that I have, while it is a thing, right? It is a thing with sentimental value that represents love, that represents experiences and connection and all these important things. And it does remind me that there was good in my life. I know now several times on the podcast I've talked about body image issues I've had and chronic dieting and my socioeconomic status. I've been more sherry about. I used to carry so much shame about it, and I was actually told, don't ever tell anybody that kind of stuff. Like, or I was bragging about this sweater I got at Goodwill. Don't ever tell anybody that you shopped at a thrift store. And I'm all like, now I'm like, no, you know what? That is the part of my past that shaped part of who I am. And it also makes me connected to the idea of, I would say, empathy, in that don't ever judge a person by what they have or don't have. And that is really hard to do in our culture that gives power to people with the most money, and that tells us that the most important thing we could do is exert control over other people through power, through money. And so I give a big fat no to that one. And I really can appreciate where I've been and can appreciate how even dark times in my past have been beneficial to me, but that also there were a lot of good times too. And it is important to remember and cultivate those good times, without necessarily trying to run away from what was bad and what did, hurt you at some point. It's all part of learning and growing and processing your experiences. And speaking of that, I want to talk a little bit about my intention setting, which is a practice I do every year. And I start thinking of it around my birthday. And I usually reveal the intention in the new year, which is something that then I plan to cultivate throughout the year. And then, this way it gives me an opportunity to think about it, sit with it, hold it, and kind of I have to decide, by the time we're all singing Happy New Year and all that stuff, because I kind of want to put it out there to the world on kind of day one. But I actually know what I want to do this year already, and it's definitive. The second I thought of it, I was like, yes, 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 absolutely. So, what I do with intentions is I think about, I love to reflect and spend some time, thinking about the highs and lows and just reminding myself of my values, the kind of person I want to be, the kind of life I want, and also what I say I want and what I say matters, and then sitting with that and actually challenging that and thinking about that more. And a few years ago, I actually added in trying to frame up a theme for where I would focus my intention. And so the word for the year for 2016 was, unsurprisingly, kindness. And so by this point, it was just the Thanksgiving of 2015 when we came up with the name Body Kindness for the book. Before then, I was writing to a whole different book and theme. And if you want to hear more discussion about that, I think I talked about that on Christy Harrison's Food Psych podcast when she had me on in early 2017. So you could go back and listen to that if that's of interest to you. But so then I had the holidays where I was away with my family to try to do writing, and then early the next year, and I was just writing so fast, and it was a crazy time. Just let's leave it at that. So, kindness was on my mind, and I started out doing daily kindness messages, and it was really helpful. And I didn't make it through the whole year, but it was helpful until I felt like it was no longer helpful to me. But I wanted to focus my intentions around what it meant, what kindness really means. And so reading about that, studying about that, it was helpful for me in what I was writing in the book anyway. The book was called Body Kindness. What is that even? There was all kinds of stuff around that I was able to put out there. And then the 2017 intention was compassion. And that came to me, so technically the book birthday is December 27th, 2016. And I can't even tell you the roller coaster ride to getting a book to be done. But then launch day, and you get your hopes up, like what's going to happen. And I'll tell you what happened. Nobody gave a shit on December 27th because I wasn't Brene Brown, right? Or Oprah or whoever, Hillary Clinton, anyone, Roxanne Gay, it's just, I was an expert who had the privilege to write a book. And so honestly, I bet you if I asked, my mom didn't even know my book was coming out that day. There was no way my husband wasn't going to know because he was hearing all about the book like all the time. But we did a celebration. We got tickets to Bruno Mars that, we went to dinner, and I felt guilty because it was an expensive night. But I also felt like I need to do something to celebrate and honor this as an accomplishment. But just let me tell you, it's a horrible time of year for a book to come out, especially if nobody knows your name and nobody's glad you came. And as my friend Leslie would say, Leslie a nobody. It was definitely a Rebecca a nobody situation. And yes, imposter syndrome is a real thing. I'm still floored when anybody says, can you sign my book, or I've read your book, or I loved your book, and way beyond that. Your book changed my life, and there's so many. I will never be able to truly know the impact that it has, and for any impact, I feel extremely grateful. But when you put a book out into the world, it's very, very vulnerable, and I had many high stress points and many tears were shed, and called my best friend a bazillion times. I found out it was going to be in the New York Times book review, and I couldn't just sit and be excited about it. I had all this stress around when the website was going to be ready, and what would that mean, and what would they say, and all this stuff. And then, I don't know, just at the end of the day, I think that I felt like a failure before the book even came out. And then I felt like a fraud for feeling like a failure and an ungrateful bitch and all these things. My inner critic was soaring. It was winning without a doubt. And so here's this time where you're supposed to be so happy and excited. And I was, it wasn't that, but I also felt like that there was something wrong, about that work was going to be worth nothing because nobody was even going to care because of the pub date. And of course, people were not, out there lining up. Just based on the time of year, people are off and all that stuff and yada, yada, yada. Here I am consoling myself again as I get ready to celebrate the first birthday. And there will be a celebration. I'm not going to share too much now. There will be a celebration on the podcast. There will be a celebration on social media that at this point, I just love. A year into it, my eyes are, my eyes see it differently now. But all that is to say that I chose for my word for 2017 to be compassion, because holy shitballs, if I did not need some compassion there, for myself, perfectionism was driving the car, and, it just is not a good look on me. It's not a good look on anybody. It's not healthy. And then talk about imposter syndrome. The person that's talking about being good to yourself is having a hard time being good to herself. And of course, I couldn't tell anybody except super, super, super secret people that I could trust. And so I said, I need to cultivate compassion. And included in that was the compassion to not have to publicly say I'm cultivating compassion this year, because I was disappointed that I didn't see the word kindness through December 31st. And so I said, okay, we're doing more compassion. And I loved that because, it's body kindness is nothing if it's not about cultivating your inner caregiver. That is what it is. Create a better life by finding your caregiving voice. It has absolutely nothing to do with weight, shape, or appearance. And I pulled the big fast one on people. I got a book published by a dietitian, by an exercise expert, right? What is inside is that there's so much more to life. And yes, the frame is about let's take what we think about health and wellness and turn it on its side. And there's only so many pages, and there we were committed to the structure of spiraling up. And, there is only so much physical room. I wish I could have had more room to do even more, but it's a physical thing and it has its limitations, which is why I love podcasting, which is why I love what I'm going to be launching on the Body Kindness birthday. So that's all I will say about it for now. I'm zipping the lip up until then. If you want to know ASAP, if you're an insider, then you either already know or you will know soon. So I'll just leave that teaser out there for you. But yeah, I just wanted to give myself some time to practice that caregiver voice. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And 2017, for the most part, was a very roller coaster year. My kids getting a little bit older in preschool, just the different ways relationships evolve. And I'm in a very happy marriage, but consistently, my husband and I have to do a lot of work to find the time to connect with just each other, and how that looks different, and mourning shifts in identities of our lives as independent, our lives with each other, while celebrating life as a family. And, I definitely feel that there was a change between the diapers, burping, crying, sleeping stage and to the, oh my gosh, how do I parent this monster stage? And then to the, oh my gosh, how do I parent this little person that can actually understand things? So that we were going through all of that. And, so much uncertainty for me around the book. And, so much compassion practicing, I can't even say. So then that brings me to my focus and intention and what I need for 2018. And I'm going to go ahead and share that with you right now. And where this is coming from is a place of good enoughness. And so I think it's the sort of other ugly head of perfectionism. And I really care deeply about addressing it. So this is not, I've way moved past the criticisms about appearance that my caregiver can very easily, when it comes to body, reframe and refocus my values there. But I have always been a worrier about security. And being an entrepreneur, those two things are like oil and water, So, and I think for so long it was just study, you got to change career, I throw myself into something, give. And I've learned these resilient skills. It's not that, but I feel like what I have only been able to accomplish is to find the upside of something when I'm struggling, to find the gratitude. I can push myself to find that, but I think I can do better. I think I can do a better job at good enoughness. I think I can do a better job at choosing not to even start down a path, because of what I want in my life as a whole. And it's a deeply held value for me to help people. I mean, I knew that when I was 10, 11 years old. People would ask what I want to do. I don't know. I want to help people. And I know I'm helping people no matter what I do. And part of what I thrive off of is my flexibility and my spontaneity of let's try this and let's do that. But what ends up happening is I get so many ideas, and I'm actually really good at organizing lots of jumbled ideas, but it ends up naturally through a self-motivation hogging up a lot of my time and energy. And so when it comes to things like rest and downtime, I don't take it. It feels frivolous. When it comes to pursuing hobbies, it feels frivolous. So I mentioned the adult coloring I've been trying that for a couple of years. That is a simple hobby-ish thing where in the end is a gift that I can give to my kids and I'm still not doing it. But I want to learn piano. And, I want some different experiences out of my work. I'm so excited to share that I'll be doing some workshops, and so day-long workshops based on travel that's already happening. I'll be doing some retreats, definitely one in DC, although I don't have the date yet, but definitely one in DC. There will be a few others that are more retreat, meaning over the weekend type of retreats. I may do something longish again if there's enough interest. So if you are interested, something longish, something beachy, please email me ASAP, because I feel like I can kind of concierge the crap out of going somewhere. So Rebecca@bodykindnessbook.com if that is of interest, and we can get a little email chain going of locations, budgets, and all that stuff and try to figure all that good stuff out. But I also plan to do a virtual retreat as well, because I want to have accessibility. So that would be spanned out over, take what you would do in a weekend retreat and span it out over a certain amount of time. So I do want to have different meaningful aspects of my work like that. But at some point, we got to say stop, or that's enough. That's enough right now. There's a lot of things in the fire. And I think that my problem is that it's kind of like, rather than saying like, I can handle this which is a normal, good stress response, right? And that's in the stress episode that I talked about with Bernie early on in season 1, the upside of stress. Listen to that. That's a really good chat. But I think what's happening with me in this situation is it's like I'm day one on some sort of skilled baker apprenticeship. And, I've got like one thing in the oven that I got to pull out, and this thing and that thing. And then if I don't do something a certain way, I'm going to smash my souffle and just like, which is all going to kind of come tumbling down. And so there's something that's missing for me in that urgent, having difficulty tolerating the next thing in line and the next thing in line. I love the opportunities and things, so I want to say yes to every single opportunity. And while some opportunities make the decision for me because it's the potential client that says no, potential speaking thing that says no, something like that, but I mostly let the other person say that for me, as opposed for me to really think about realistically, if I don't want work to spill into the weekend, and if I want to be okay with, being able to adjust to a mom who has kids who have needs. I'm lucky that they have a long school day, but also there's drop off and pickup, and I want more than just, okay, well, my me time is my exercise time. And I feel like I don't talk enough about fun and hobbits. I should become a hobbit. Habits and hobbies. See what I did there? I don't talk about it because I feel shame around the fact that I'm not making the time for that stuff. And so I need to own that. I need to admit it. I need to own that. I need to identify it as a problem. And so where that's all coming out into my place of a word is, when I was sitting there, it literally just came to me like from clouds. It formed, and the word is abundance. And abundance means so much to me. It means that already as it is, this is enough, and there is plenty, and that your needs will get met. And I think where a lot of my anxiety comes from around the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, beyond being a creative and beyond being energized by it, is that there was a time in my life where there wasn't abundance and there wasn't that security, and that there was financial insecurities, but there was also insecurities about getting to the point to get an education. We didn't have healthcare as a kid, so I didn't have a regular doctor. So by the time I got medical care, I remember a Planned Parenthood and some college health care, but very, very limited. But it wasn't until my first job, and I was like, how do I even get a doctor? Getting a regular dentist, like things that I was learning for the first time as an adult. So, I just think that deep, deep down, there's this underlying fear of it's like, you could lose it all. And so you have to keep producing in order to hope that you won't lose it all. And so it's not about all or nothing, right? Like you're probably like, Rebecca, you already talked about your launch and workshops and this and that. And no, I'm not going to go because that would be supporting you and abundance. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that I can let myself feel that fear, but if I cultivate abundance, I can cultivate the ways in which life, even in a difficult time, is already full for me, and to try to find those ways. And that, having financial security isn't the only way of proving security. And for that, I'm not talking about of course we need to have food over our head, and when our basic needs are not met, that's a whole other level. But I do think that our society values and idolizes what it means to be able to rest. It means when you've, made millions or something. And, I just think that for me, I know I'm going to do really good work. I just need to be smarter about it. And I need to choose that white space on my calendar and that fun time and that downtime, and not just use, okay, cooking is my downtime today. I'm laughing, but I've done that. Or, oh, my run. And it is. The run can be fun, but it can also be something where I don't have to sacrifice some other fun things, like taking some piano lessons maybe. So anyway, abundance is the word. And hopefully I'll be sharing more about that publicly. I would love to know what you think of this episode, what you think of solo episodes. Like I said, I'm really just fixing a mistake here as I had some random idea, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are as I'm looking forward to next year and the podcast and all those good things. And I really want to thank you for listening to me ramble on about stuff. And I hope you have a very happy and healthy holiday season. And I will be back with a podcast with Bernie on December 26th. And December 27th, we are celebrating Body Kindness's birthday. And I hope you'll join me. Take care. And that's the episode. If you have your own body betrayal story, I'd love to hear it. Please shoot me an email at rebecca@bodykindnessbook.com. That's REBECCA @bodykindnessbook.com. And let's continue the conversation in my free Facebook group. Search Body Kindness Podcast on Facebook and request to join. And if you like listening, please leave a rating and review or tell a friend. If you'd like to hear how you can get signed Body Kindness books for gifts for the holiday season or special events, email me, Rebecca@bodykindnessbook.com.